Check one, check 1, 2, 3, 4. Guys, check out my new TikTok channel. Just kidding, I don't have a TikTok channel. But someday I'm gonna get one.
How old are you now?
Almost 40, dude, almost 40. 38 right now,
Oh.
39 in June. That means next year I turn 40. But not too old for a TikTok channel.
I think you might be.
Nope. So this is Matt. He is an engineer. He usually does our stabilizer bars, end links. Also been working on the valving for all of our new shocks. So he's pretty much many trades in the engineering department. Over here is Michael's desk. He's out with the other Michael doing some UTV testing in Barstow today. We go out every couple weeks to take out UTVs, come up with spring sets that work for them. So you don't have to revalve your shocks. You just throw the spring kits on and it's good to go. Actually way better than stock. Actually like wakes up the UTVs and make them pretty rad. So he's not here, but he works on our spring development and also shock stuff too. So this is the engineering department of 2. But wait, there's more. Come on. Out here is this hunk of junk Toyota, I mean Lexus 460. I think it's yours, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So today we're doing development testing on the coilover system for the GX460. We're cycle testing it to make sure everything works, and then we're coming up with different spring rates that work for the coilover system. I think we started with like either a 4Runner or, oh no, we have a GX470 shock, so we're making sure everything works with that on this. And then we're checking out different rates and travel, and then we're gonna do ride quality testing. So we've got the truck for a couple days. Thank you, Andy. Kind of go from there. Around here we have the TRX. This thing's pretty badass. Some nice Bilstein coilover shocks on there. Actually just big old shocks. And we're doing, working on spring development, lift kit. So hopefully first to the game, because this thing is a bad mamma jamma, 700 horsepower of American muscle. TikTok. Oh, look who it is. This is our driver. This is Julian. He just drives the work van around, hits stuff. What is this? Yeah.
Storage boxes.
Oh, nice. Doo-ha. Okay. We're just doing a little tour. This is Andy. He owns the 460 and also does his does some vlogging as well. Yeah. Whoa. Compliance. Safety first. That's actually the CEO, Julian. Anyway, this is the damper department. We start our shocks from raw tubes, which you'll find right here. And we cut them down to size, and we actually bring them over to closer, which takes an open tube and turns it into a closed tube. Let's go check it out.
Sleeping in jeans, I'ma need a night. OD on a cheap advice.
We start with these guys, open tube, and then end with these guys, closed tube. So you can see that the machine, it heats the end of the tube red hot, and then the die closes the tube, basically welds the tube shut. So once the tubes are closed up, we end up pressure testing them with nitrogen, to make sure that there's no pinholes or any gas leaks on the closed end. So, cutting down coilover bodies, these will eventually get threaded. this is the piston rod material. So we actually make our own piston rods here. They go through this machine. This will thread the ends, and finished product looks like this. What size lens is that?
35.
Oh, okay. On a crop sensor? On a crop sensor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're just like so far away. So we're gonna go to assembly, shock assembly in here. So this is where we take all the parts and put them together into one complete shock. This machine right here is actually a cycle tester. We don't have anything on it right now, but we'll run millions of cycles on any new shock that we come out with, because we want to make sure the bushing is good and the seals all work correctly in the position it's at. So we actually mount the shock in the position as it sits in the car or truck, and cycle it, and once that's good to go, then we'll send it to production. Fancy seeing you here. Good morning. The first time I've seen you today. Yeah, yeah. So Candido right here is working on assembling the shocks. So this machine actually gasses up the shock, it oils up the shock and seals the shock, and runs it like a turret. So he can do 5 at a time, basically. And then when they're done, we bring them over here, and every single shock that we make gets dyno tested. So what that does is make sure that they're within spec and that you get basically a matching set of shocks, front, left, and right. So this is piston assembly, or basically the guts of the shock. This is where we put it all together. So we've got our piston shim assembly, or shim stacks, and then seal head goes on there, and then hello again.
Hello again.
When that's all put together, we tighten the nut to a set tolerance. That way every single shock has the same, basically there's consistency in the shock. When it hits the dyno, you know you're getting a similar product, or the same thing left to right every single time. Consistency is key. This is what you're getting inside your coilover. A little bit of love from the gang.
I told her I've been running just to see the sights, see the lights, and they're not my type, so we chill with brother if it's ice.
All right, so this is final assembly on the shocks. This is where we put bushings in. We'll thread the bodies. We'll put the threaded perch on there. We'll put the decals on. We'll stamp everything.
I spent a lot of nights in a blur, and I bet I spent a few too many trying to make it. And I haven't yet. Yeah. We had to bet. I'm only here, yeah. You know. But if you don't like this music, then don't be listening to it. You know, I'm just a dude that you know, or something.
That's the pressure testing right there. Every single shock gets pressure tested.
We're only losing control. I say if you don't like this music, you don't be listening to it. You know, I'm just a dude that you know, or something similar. If you don't keep it real, then you go somewhere but here, cause you know we're only losing control just for a minute. Oh.
This oven is basically the hardening oven, and we take this chalky looking unhardened steel and then load it in. We'll get them red hot, take their new shape, and then we'll put them in an oil bath. Basically, like everyone's been saying, forged in fire.
Mona Lisa. What's the point of seeing Caesar if you lose touch with Jesus? There I pledge my allegiance. I stumbled into greatness. Only logical conclusion is I fumble with the fakeness. But rumble, young man, rumble. Anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Once they're to temperature, we drop them in an oil bath flames come up and then they get dropped out there.
Make sense if my life is a vacation, what am I chasing? You see friends come and go, but family is forever, especially in your lows. Not just blood. Ain't trying to keep up with the Joneses, cause the clones may end up becoming homeless. I ain't stuck, and my actions they can show. And if they don't, then God forgive me for my woes. I need love, I need God, I need you, I need us. But
If you don't like this music, then don't be listening to it. You know, I'm just.
So these are going to be race springs. This is the final product. This will be on like a, basically like a mini dirt go-kart, or basically it's a midget spring, a 188 ID midget spring. And so every 10, Josh will grab and then make sure that the dimensions are good, and he'll keep running the set, he'll keep running the batch for the rest of the 100. So 10% of the batch is checked throughout, and then we take another sample and bring it to QA afterwards and make sure that all of the rate and height and length and load characteristics are correct before they go on to any next step. Cool. So once the springs are wound and then tempered in the oven, they come here to grinding. And basically we want to make sure they're perfectly ground so when they collapse perfectly straight. This is a long, tedious process because you're grinding off very hard steel, high tensile strength steel. So kind of is a bottleneck here, but we make sure it's perfect. That's why we're on all of the trophy trucks, why we're like the off-road choice. So once the springs are ground, whether they're like a single grind or a double grind for like coilovers, they come here, shot peening. And shot peening is basically a process of removing the stressed layer, outer layer of the spring, and we use steel material, so it actually strengthens the spring. But this is the leftovers from shot peen. It basically comes out, or it's steel pellets, like steel sandblasting. Once we're finished with the shot peen, we come over to here to preset and take the spring all the way to block, which means it smashed it all the way. And nice, we're working on a prototype setup right there. So bring it all the way to block, and that ensures that you get consistent height and load characteristics on the spring for the rest of its life.
Keep this flight. Lately I've been on the move trying to get to something. But told her I've been running just to see the sights, see the lights, and they're not my type. So we chill with the brother because I saw.
These extra steps are what set us apart from a lot of other manufacturers, and it ensures that you're getting consistency. Again, it's always consistency and quality of raw material. So he goes through and makes sure that everyone that comes out of there is within tolerance, within spec. And if it doesn't, it goes in a reject pile. This is our powder coating line. And basically, the springs go through. We put them through a zinc phosphate bath to keep any type of rust or corrosion spread from going too far. And then it goes through the powder coat line.
Yeah.
This is sway bar bending. Bring it over here, and the machine, Mike throws it in the machine, which is CNC run. And as you can see, it just works around, makes its bend, and keeps moving.
Never been afraid to holler out, my God's the greatest. Ain't gotta make sense, man, I used to make tents. If my life is a vacation, what am I chasing?
So after each bar is done, we put it on a jig to make sure all the dimensions are correct. and it's a go, no-go such situation. So basically every single bar is checked for dimensional accuracy before it goes on to the next step, which is end forming, which we'll go check out.
Then don't be listening to it, you know. I'm just a dude that you know, or something similar. If you don't keep it real, can you go somewhere but here? Cause you know we're only losing control. I say if you don't like this music, you don't be listening to it, you know. I'm just a dude that you know, or something similar.
So this is end forming. So basically once the bars are taken from there, they come here and have no, they have no ends on them. And then Eddie will go through and smash the end, perfect, smash the end flat. Then we clean up the end of it, put this radius on there, and then he punches the holes through it. Once that's done, we bring it over and then we grind off any extra flashing and kind of clean up the end. And that's pretty much it for the production side of things. Once everything's done, it comes into QA. We double check to make sure everything is within tolerance before we send anything out. So there's multiple checks throughout the manufacturing process. We check it for tolerance before it gets coated. We check it for tolerance after it gets coated. We check static dimensions. We check load ratings, all of the above.
Can you go somewhere but here? Cause you know we're only losing control.
That concludes the tour of Eibach. A lot of people think that we just have a warehouse, but we're way more than that. We've got a bunch of crafts people here that have been working a long time for basically perfecting the craft. As you can see, there's hands touching everything at some point in the game, and just what you get is a high quality product. Good, again, high quality raw materials, high quality craftsmanship, people who care about what they're making, and basically testing throughout the entire manufacturing process gives you some of the best stuff on the planet. Thanks for coming.